Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to be making a start on my September Stampin' Up customer thank you cards, and I'm going to be doing something that I don't do very often, and that's heat embossing with some silver embossing powder. So all the products can be found in my online Stampin' Up shop, which is here on the screen, www.applelover53.stampinup.net. And there will also be a product list directly under this video and in the accompanying blog post, along with photographs of the finished project, which is over on my website, applelover53.co.uk, and then you just click on blog. So I've prepared all the elements so that you don't have to sit here watching me cutting card and mounting stamps and that kind of thing, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to use. So the first stamp set that I'm going to use is Forever Fern. I've done a similar technique to what I'm going to show you in this card previously, but I just used inks, and in this one, as I say, I'm going to be doing heat embossing. So I've already mounted up this leaf, and the little speckles onto some blocks. And I'm also going to be using Hello and Friend from the Biggest Wish stamp set. So I'm combining two sets of stamps. I've got 8 cards already pre-cut and folded. I've got 8 basic grey card layers already pre-cut. These are 3 5/8 by 5 3/8. I've got some pieces of silver which are 3 5/8 by 1.5 inches, and some more basic grey which are 3 5/8 by 1.25 inches. The grey strips are going to be for my greeting, and the grey layers are what I'm going to stamp on. I'm going to kind of do this in like a batch process because, as I say, I'm doing 8 initially. I may have to do more. It depends, how many people shop with me in total in the month of September. But everybody that shops with me gets a handmade card, and everybody that shops with me that remembers to use my monthly host code when they go to checkout, if I can earn enough rewards on the total orders for that month, I am able to send them out a small gift the following month. So I've got my stamping paste mat with some paper just wrapped around it, just in case I, stamp off with my stamping. And I've got an old self-healing mat which I'm keeping underneath just to try and deflect some of the heat from my big cutting mat when I'm starting to do the heat embossing. So I'm just going to put those on one side, and then what I've already done is put one of my strips of grey card into my Stamper Artist and mounted up my Hello Friend. I'm just going to put a stamp set underneath the lid. It just gives it a little bit of extra support when you're inking up your stamps. I've got a Versamark Ink Pad, and this is a watermark stamp pad, and it's like a very sticky ink. It stays wetter longer than normal inks, so that it gives you time to be able to ink up your stamps and then be able to heat emboss them. So I'm just going to apply some Versamark onto the stamp and then position this down, and that looks okay. So that's one already done. So then I'm going to put the second one in and try and anchor this down again and ink this up. I'm not going to make you sit and watch me do all 8, but I'll do a couple of them because, as I say, this Versamark ink does stay wetter for longer, so I am able to, stamp a few and not have to worry about putting them into the embossing powder. Okay, so I'll just do 3 for now, and I'll just pop that on one side. Then I've already got some silver embossing powder, which I've just put into my little tray. You don't have to do it this way. You can just put a piece of scrap paper underneath you and throw it on and then put it all back in your tub. And you just want to make sure that you cover all your stamped words with the powder. I'm just going to move my Versamark out of the way. So I'm just sliding it into the powder and then tapping it off, just making sure that the powder sticks to all that wet Versamark ink. So I'm just going to pop this on one side now, and this is where it might get a little bit noisy. So I'm just going to attempt to hold the grey card down with the end of my tweezers, and I'm just going to switch on my heat tool. Now this one isn't a Stampin' Up one. I've had this. This was one of the very first things I ever bought when I started crafting as an adult. It came in a kit with some inks and some stamps, but it works, so I'm just going to stick with it for now. So I'm just going to put it on and let it get hot for a few seconds, and then I'm going to hold it about an inch or so from this powder, and the powder will turn from a powdery substance to a nice silver shiny embossed effect. And I don't know if you saw how quickly how that turns, and do be careful, because obviously this is powder that kind of turns molten, so it can be hot, so don't stick your fingers in it, and your card will get hot as well. But look how beautiful and shiny that goes from, let me pick this one up, from its powder-like form to this. So I'm just going to do another one and then we'll get on to the card making. And once you see it start to turn from powder to the colour of the embossing powder that you're using, so in my case silver, but you know, we do it in gold and I think we do it in copper, just move on. Don't heat for too long in one area, because you can, you know, like overheat the embossing powder. So I'll just do this last one, and then I'll move on to the card, and then when I've done them all, I'll show you them all at the end. Okay, so that's all my sentiments done. So now I'm going to bring in a piece of my basic grey, which is the layer to go on my white base card. And I'm going to bring in a piece of masking tape, which I've cut at 1 inch wide, and I'm just going to position it kind of across the middle. I'm not unduly concerned whether it's directly in the middle, but what I am trying to do is trying to get a straight line, so it doesn't look wonky. But if I don't get it right, I'm going to kind of hide it with these anyway. So now I'm going to bring back in my Versamark, and I'm going to start with my leaves. So as I say, I've got 2 different leaves and I've got the speckles. So I'm going to start off with this leaf, and again I'm just going to ink it up with my Versamark. And for this I'm not using my Stamper Artist because I find it easier, because I'm going to be kind of twisting and turning the stamp. So I don't I'm going to stamp above and below this white piece of masking paper. So I don't want the bottom half of my stamp to come over this side when I'm stamping this half, if that makes sense. So I'm going to stamp like so, ink this up, turn it around, and then I'm going to stamp kind of diagonally to it. I want the majority of the leaf on this half of the card, and then the bottom half of the leaf anywhere on this scrap, as long as it doesn't overlap the top, because it'll look, it might look messy then. So I'm just going to do like so, and then I'm going to ink it up again and do it this way. So stamp. And as I say, you don't have to worry about rushing, because this Versamark ink stays wetter for longer. So you might not be able to see this very well. I'll try and zoom in a little. So basically I've got ink here, here, here and here. I'm going to bring in the other Fern design. I'm not exactly sure what these are, and then this one I'm going to take up a little bit higher, but still making sure that the bottom, is down near the masking paper. And then I'm going to turn it round and do the same. As I say, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then also within this Fern stamp set, there's this little speckle. So I'm going to ink up this little speckle and just add a few speckles here and there. And I've got a little bit of overstamp in there, but not to worry. Okay, so that's the first one done, and I'm going to do the same with all the others. But what I'm going to do with this one, I'm going to peel the masking tape off, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to bring in my embossing powder and pick up the powder and shake it all over the wet ink. And I think I've got everything, but I'll just go over the little dots. I like to kind of flick it from the back to flick any excess powder off. And then I'm going to do the same. So I'm going to bring this in, going to hold it down with my tweezers and start heating. And again, you can see how quickly that turns from its dull powdery to its lovely, shiny, embossed design. It's beautiful. So I'll just do one and put one card together, and then I'll carry on doing what I've done. So I'll go back to stamping all my Hello Friends, then I'll stamp all the ferns, and then I'll emboss them all, and then I'll put them all together and show you them all at the end. But for now, I'm just going to bring in one of my card bases. This is basic white cardstock, which I've cut in half on the 8 1/4 side, right down the middle, scored and folded. And these are going to be top opening cards. I'm going to bring in my layer, and then because I've embossed, it will buckle your card a little bit. It won't be as flat as when you started, but just make sure you use a good strong adhesive and it will hold it all down. So you could use our multi-purpose liquid adhesive, or you can use Stampin' Seal Plus, which is what I'm using here. Either of them will do. And because I've got, a few that I'm making, I'm just using the Seal Plus for now. So then I'm just going to position that centrally on my card. Then I'm going to bring in one of my silver layers, and the grey is going to sit over the top. And again, I'm just going to use Seal Plus. Now I've cut these 2 layers so that they're the same width as the grey matting layer, but they are 1/4 of an inch bigger than each other. So there'll be, you know, a little bit of the silver showing at the top and the bottom, but they are the same size edge to edge. And then I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals. And I'm going to put a few more than I would normally do, just to hold it down. I've got a little box that I keep at the side of me just for popping little bits of scraps and dimensionals in. Then I'm going to bring this in, and then this now is going to sit across the middle. So where we had the masking, where I had the masking paper, this is going to hide that. And as I say, you know, if any of the edges were not quite as perfect, or you didn't quite get it, you know, your masking paper exactly straight, this is where you can hide any imperfections, but it looks okay. And then I'm just going to position that across the middle. So that's today's card. Let me zoom in. There you go. So that's today's card. So just literally a couple of pieces of basic grey cardstock, a white card base, some silver mirror card, and some silver embossing powder. And how lovely does that look? Okay, so I've got them all done now. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use some smoky slate ink. This is basic grey card, but I'm going to use smoky slate because it all ties in together, our Stampin' Up colours. I've got the leaf that I used on the front. I'm just going to stamp on the inside of the card. And then I've got my envelope here, and I'm going to do the same in the corner of the envelope. So if I just move everything out of the way, here's my lovely card now, all in basic grey and silver. Hello friend. When you open it up, you've got the leaf inside, which matches the leaf that I've done in the silver embossing on the outside, and just the same leaf on the front of the envelope. So here are all the others that I've done so far. So I've made 8 so far. So if you shopped with me in September, you will be receiving one of these cards. And I'd just like to say thank you for everybody that does continue to support me with my Stampin' Up business and who continues to shop with me. Please remember to use that monthly host code now. It's always posted on the homepage of my website, which you can find here at applelover53.co.uk. It's always pinned to the top of my Apple Lover 53 Facebook page, and it's also on the homepage of my Stampin' Up shop, which is www.applelover53.stampinup.net, and it's always clearly marked. It says monthly host code. All you need to do is just make a note of that host code and pop it into where it says apply coupon at checkout. And if everybody who shops with me in a month uses that code, and I can earn enough rewards from the combined orders, I'm able to then send you out a little thank you gift of some sort the following month. So it really does help me out. Also, please remember to give this video a thumbs up on YouTube. That also helps YouTube push my videos out to other people that may be looking for Stampin' Up or paper crafting. And also, please don't forget to subscribe if you don't already do so, and that way you'll be kept notified by YouTube when I post a video and when I also go live. So thanks once again, and I hope you like the project. Talk to you all soon. Bye for now.